What I thought about was, how do we get to that place of merit yet be anonymous? And what I thought about was the main anonymity. The main thing about anonymity is being anonymous to yourself. What brought me to that was, if we are trying to micromanage who we are, then we always end up guilty. But if we just allow things to flow, then we don't really know. We are not really shaping who we are. We're allowing who we are to come to the forefront, and that in itself is anonymous. It's within us. And the other thing I saw was the anonymity, as far as being external, deals with helping other people through their pain, helping them through their adversarial thoughts, and helping them to know how to get rooted in what they believe on an individual basis or collective, but at the same time, not presenting it in such a way that we make them feel like we're the only one who know what's going on. That in itself is a type of anonymity as well, I think.
Yes, and anonymity also relates to, I guess, building on what you just said. Not wanting to get the credit. I mean, you know, sometimes when things happen and we know what we did behind the scenes, we know what we contributed behind the scenes. So this is another level of anonymity. I don't mean the anonymity that you mean being truly anonymous to self.
Right.
I mean, this is another layer of it, a different layer of it. You know what you did, you know what you contributed, and when someone else gets the credit, you say, well, I did all the work. No, just rest in knowing that you did what you did, and the contribution you made is being seen in another realm. You don't have to. That's probably one of the best ways of getting. If there was a spiritual bank, and you were getting deposits, the contributions that you make in influencing others in their lives, even though they don't see it as you, and it's you, but they don't see it as you, but it's still anonymous.
And
I don't know if that makes...
What triggered me was, when you said that, is this. If I do the work, someone else gets the credit. When I'm comfortable with that, that's anonymous. But if I'm not comfortable with that, if I even think the thought that, God, I did all the work and they got all the credit.
Exactly.
I don't have to say it to anybody.
You just...
I'm not anonymous to self.
You just negated it.
I just negated it, yes. So it has to be, you're feeling the same way if you get credit or if you don't. It doesn't matter. It just be, because I think we see that a lot of times in people reflected in a business. When someone ends up doing something they like and it results in a business that never expected, it just blossoms into something. They were not trying to do that. And I see that from a spiritual perspective, is that all you're trying to do is the right thing. And by virtue of that desire, you begin to see things and speak things that you don't really pay attention to because they come natural to you. And as a result of that, you end up changing the whole course of what beliefs.
Well, Pastor, it wouldn't come to you, like those thoughts that come out there, they wouldn't come to you?
They come, but you got to deal with them.
Yeah, okay.
See, this is, okay, you remember the parable about the seeds, and it say that the birds came and took it away? And Yeshua says that this is talking about Satan taking it away, right? Now, this is the thing. It has been translated that Satan takes it away, but the word Satan, Satana in the Aramaic means adversary, or it means to block something or to cause someone to go astray. So, when those thoughts come to you, if you embrace them, they will cause you to go astray. You see what I'm talking about? When those thoughts come to you, if you embrace them, they will cause you to be negative and become adversarial to those who are getting the credit for what you did.
So they're come, but you immediately need to dismiss them.
You got to dismiss them. You cannot. You cannot entertain them.
And a lot of times I tell myself I'm not going to go there, which means I'm not going to allow my thoughts to go there,
Right.
or I'm not going to allow myself to go there and dwell on whatever there is. And that's how I pull myself back by reminding myself, I'm not going there. I'm just. We're just talking about thoughts. We talked about from last week. Any comments from last week?
Well, Barbara, sometimes when you say you're not going there, I'm not saying you per se.
Yeah.
You've already
Yeah.
gone. You're already there.
Yeah.
So
Well, once you get there
you need to
and
turn
you
around.
realize that you're there,
You need to turn around.
yes.
Okay.
You talked about pain too. And what I actually did, I went back and read the sword thingy. And I just saw that like the pain is something, thoughts or actions that are too painful for you to deal with at the moment.
Yeah, pain is not simply the physical.
Right. It's when the seed fell on thorny ground, it's like it got choked out. The things that we face on a daily basis, whether it be at work, at home, in relationships, outside of the home, it doesn't matter. The things that we face appears to be they get choked out by the pain that comes from them. And what I mean by choked out is like, you can say, I'm not going there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if the pain is great enough and you go there, what it actually did, it choked out your positive intention. Can you see that? So,
but let me follow what you just said.
yeah,
Is it the pain that chokes out your positive intention, or is it you allowing? I mean, you're gonna have the pain.
right. Allowing it to do it.
Just acknowledge that that's there, and then what do you do then?
Right.
What do you do then? Because that doesn't say you're not gonna have the pain. But once you understand what it is and where it came from, then what are you gonna do then?
Because I'll tell you, I have been in positions, places of depression, where I struggled to rise above it, and now it's a lot easier. But there was a time when I would allow it to choke out everything I believed. And I would call someone, and they would begin to talk to me about stuff that we know is right, and I don't want to hear that now. Because at that point, it was like I wanted it to be choked
I
out.
don't want to wallow in this.
Yeah.
Let me wallow for a little
And
while.
they say, okay, bye. And all of a sudden, I didn't want to do it anymore, but they hung up on me.
Yeah, you wanted somebody else there with you.
Yeah. So, but it does get easier as you begin to fight it off. I was trying to think of an instance even with the development of the foundation, especially foundation, because it started so fresh and so different, I would get awfully frustrated. But then I would tell myself, you know what? You didn't start it, and you can't perpetuate it. But that didn't help. I was still late at night wondering what's going to happen next. Now I don't, because finally it has taken root. You didn't start it, and you don't have to perpetuate it. Either it will grow on its own, or the sun will burn it and cause it to wither. And the simple meaning that if it's not right, when it's exposed to the light, it's going to die. So now I don't have those issues like I once did.
So the issue is then it'll do what it's gonna do, and whatever happens, you're gonna move on, or you're gonna do what you do.
Yeah.
Either way,
Because there was
it takes the burden away from you.
right. I mean, there's so many things, and some you know of that I wrestle with concerning this. But but I have to tell myself, you know what? You can wrestle all night long. And it's gonna be what it's gonna be tomorrow anyway.
And you be tired.
Yeah. So just let it go, and let it be what it desires to be, and that's it. But I'm gonna bring Nick up to speed.
Oh, hey, Nick. We were just talking last week about some concepts from the Zohar, and this week we were seeing what comments people had, or what thoughts they had, and what we were talking about right now related to pain. And if you didn't know pain, you wouldn't know pleasure in a sense. So that's where we are. Other thoughts from last time?
I wanted to carry it a bit further about the light,
Which part about the light?
exposing.
Oh.
Light does not necessarily mean it looks like light to us. Something that we presume to be bad can expose what we really are. You see what I'm talking about? So it is still light exposing what's there, but it doesn't appear to us to be light. That is the reason the thing that we call darkness is not the absence of light, it's the absence of understanding it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because for an example would be, I guess, someone doing something to someone close to you, and you say, you know what, I don't know why it happened, but I'm going to have to forgive the person. Or you say, you know what, I'm going to deal with this, I'm going to get even. That's something that's light exposing what's in you, even though it doesn't appear to be light. So we as we move forward along this enlightened path, I am the way, the truth, and the light. As we move forward along this enlightened path, we don't have to be cognizant of every little detail in terms of watching everything. I wanted this light, I wanted that darkness. Only thing we have to be cognizant of is the right intention and this desire. That's it. Making sure that the intent is pure. I have an intent. My intent is to become the light that I seek. And guess what? When you become the light that you seek, you also will appear not to be.
Now, what do you mean, the light that you see?
Jesus said that you're the light of the world. And seeking to be that light is
That light.
desiring rather to be that light. Maybe it's a better phrase, a better way of expressing it. Is desiring to be that light. As we desire that, there are times we don't appear to be light, because we may do something that appears to us to be negative and to someone else to be negative, but it exposes who they are. So we have been light to them, even though we don't feel like we have.
And there are times when we don't feel like we are the light, and we feel like we have, you just have no idea that you exposed something, but someone else sees you as the light too.
And the reason we see it as darkness is because we don't understand the reason it happened. But if the desire is always there, the one thing that you hold on to is, I don't have to understand it for it to be right. I don't have to understand it for it to be right. All I have to do is desire.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay. Other thoughts? Well, we talked about last time things that appear to be obstacles, embracing them instead of playing the victim and saying, why me, why this now, why now, why, why it sounds so much like when we say this. It's sort of what you just said. It's another way of saying what you just said. Okay, it's here. What am I to get out of this? What am I to see in this? What is this showing me of me? And an obstacle can be a no to a job. It can be a no to anything. Or it can be anything that you perceive that blocks where you think you ought to be going. So the thing is, you got to examine your thoughts. And are your thoughts always unselfish? Because there may be something that blocks us, and it's because we desire something that we thought we wanted, but if we really think about it, it's not in our best interest. So sometimes it's there to slow you down enough so that you can create a little bit of space to think about it.
Yeah.
So it's not always just there to, the mountain's not always there just so that you can run into it. It's so you can back up and say, okay, let me back up so I can see this mountain from a lot bigger perspective and not just see it right here.
Because if you're too close, it looks like a wall. It doesn't look like a mountain.
And sometimes I feel like I'm drowning in my thoughts with the circumstances that I face on a daily basis with coworkers. It feels like I'm drowning with this stuff, and it's like, God, I need you to save me. I need you to help me with this. And once I'm out of the drowning, the water, well, the thoughts, and when I look back, it's like you created all this stuff yourself, and it's like a hindsight 20/20 thing. You look back, you're like, it's just a lot of stuff. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
So you're heaping your thoughts on top of other thoughts, and it's like when Moses was at the Red Sea. You're saying, God save me. Well, it's saying save yourself.
It's like a hell.
But Ellen, think about it this way. You could have, while you were drowning in those thoughts, been micromanaging. Okay, why did this thought come? What can I do to get past this? But if you don't know what's happening, don't understand it, and you, Lord, help me, and you help yourself, you get through that, you look back at it, now you don't have the guilt of having beaten yourself up because you had those thoughts.
Yeah.
You're fighting through them. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's better to fight through them than it is to be accusatory to yourself for experiencing those thoughts.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
I'm curious about Evelyn's use of the words drowning in those thoughts too.
Okay.
What does that mean? What does it mean to be drowning?
It's like it was covering me. I was covered in these, seemed like that, the negative energy we call it. It seemed like it was just overwhelming me, and I'm like, 1-864-426-2188. I need to talk to you, help me through this, But when I look back and it seemed like I was delivered from the thoughts, I'm like, okay, you were trying to show me this, you were trying to show me that. It's something always that I need to deal with
Yeah, but
internally.
what happened at the time that created the space for you to begin to,
Rise
yes.
above it, what was happening at that time.
I mean, you said on retrospect when you look back, but there's something that got you through it. In other words, I guess what I'm saying is drowning is not being able to catch your breath, and what is breathing?
It's like I was fighting. You know when you drown it, which I've never drowned before, but physically, but
Yeah, we know.
yeah. But it's like I'm like these thoughts are coming and coming. It was like currents.
You talk about the scripture. The adversary is like a roaring lion. The word roaring means seeking to devour. Devour means drown.
Oh. Okay.
It translates as drown, so that you drown the adversary thoughts.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, Janice.
No, I was just saying Nick had his hand up a while ago.
Oh, okay.
You just got to jump in, Nick. I don't think
you
they're
do.
gonna really
just
let
have to
you
jump in. I can't see you.
talk.
Yeah, I gotta start doing that.
Oh, nice.
What do you say?
Did you have a thought?
He's froze.
He froze.
It's cold there.
Very cool.
Can you guys hear me still?
Yeah.
Now we can.
Okay, yeah, my internet connection is jumping around, but I was talking about the drowning metaphor, and I know exactly what you're talking about. It's in when somebody actually is drowning, the only thing that keeps them in that situation is they're panicking.
Fear.
So if you just stop fighting it, like everybody will float and nobody will drown.
Okay.
Because you float naturally. So the adversary is how you deal with your own ability to create thought, because that's what we do. And if we get caught in like a cycle of thoughts that make us worried about those thoughts, that produces more thoughts, we start drowning, right? But to move past the adversarial influence, you have to stop fighting it so that what is naturally present can occur. So naturally you would float. Naturally, energy organizes all those thoughts if you allow it to flow. And you allow it to flow by relaxing and stopping yourself from panicking.
So that's what I did in order to rise above the thoughts.
Well, where I was getting to is that when you're drowning, also, not only is the fear there, but it's not being able to catch a breath because, So really, what Nick is talking about is just breathing.
And maybe that's what I
And
did.
breathing helps to create that space.
Because in my cubicle, I
breathing.
got breathe all everywhere, but at that present time, I didn't see not one word I had in my cubicle.
But see, when we back to that soil thing again, the seed, the soil, the earth, the good ground, all that's your subconscious in how you respond to what impressions comes to it. So the external, the material feeling of drowning, being panicky, subconsciously you knew better, and it kicks in. But it's an opportunity to help purge you from not only adversary but contrary thoughts. Because once, as Nick was talking about, the energy organizing thoughts, every time that energy organize, you allow that to happen, you are going back to beginning. Because the idea of word talks about a conversation that started in beginning and remains in beginning and continues throughout creation. And as that flows, if we don't panic, then the word begins to organize themselves, and it makes sense.
Okay.
And making sense doesn't mean that you understand it. It brings balance, it calms you, it brings you to a place where you feel more comfortable moving forward as opposed to criticizing yourself to the point of guilt.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
I have a thought here. Thought is the root of speech, and if the speech doesn't coincide with the thought is the root of speech, and if the speech doesn't coincide with the thought, then what's said doesn't get its life force from pure wisdom or pure thought. It doesn't get its life force from spiritual. Thought is the root of speech, and if the speech doesn't coincide with the thought, you have two different things going on there.
So the speech disconnects itself from the root.
Exactly. And so it doesn't get its life force from the spirit. What happens is it gets its whatever force it gets from your ego, from the animalistic ego. So that's worth remembering, because whatever we think, and when we meditate on it long enough, and if it comes out of our mouth, it comes out of our mouth from one of two sources then. From the spiritual root or from the ego root, which is us. And thought is in its own way a seed also. So when we were talking about how did your garden grow last week, it begins with the kind of seed that's sown. So it behooves us to get the, you know how you have peas and some of those peas got bad specks on them and you don't want to plant them? You know, our thoughts are like that sort of too. Our can be like that as well.
And in the thought, also if based on what the description that you're given between thought and speech, if the speech is disconnected from the thought, then the mind, the heart, the senses are shut down. It shuts them down, and you don't know what you feel. It's like you don't know what to think because everything is running into each other. It's like you become numb, and we talk about I'm numb, which basically means if you know better and not doing it, you're being hard-headed. Yeah, that's basically what we call it, because when you're being hard-headed, you shut down everything. It's like, I don't want to think that, because that's a man thing in God's mercy. I know that's the right thing, but right now I don't feel like I want to do that. So your senses are gone. You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So again, all the way back to what you said in the beginning, a concern and where it came from, you create all of that by virtue of shutting everything down, as opposed to relaxing and breathing. And I promise anyone, it does not matter how deep the pain is. It does not matter how overwhelming the circumstance appears to be. If you stop and breathe with a focus on the name, I guarantee you, you will settle down and calmness will prevail. It would definitely prevail, because breathing is recognizing a connection between the upper and the lower world, because breath is both unseen physically but also it has particles, which are earthy. So it's the combination of both worlds. And when you inhale, if you can see that as inhaling the divine and exhaling life for everything else that is, you take your focus off yourself
Okay.
and you begin to calm down. Because the only reason you feel what you feel is because you focus on you.
Now I have an idea of where all this is coming from, because it's taken a different turn from last week. In the last 2 weeks, there have been 2 people that I know of who've committed suicide. I didn't know them well, but I knew them well enough to speak with them. I didn't see them often, but then when I heard of their deaths, and suicide is basically a selfish kind of act, if bottom line. Whether when I'm committing it, I'm thinking I'm doing it for the sake of not putting my family through some other stuff, it doesn't matter. It's